Hey there folks, welcome back to Let's Play Bastion. First things first, this is going to be a commentary track over the video itself for reasons I'll explain in just a moment. So as you might know, I haven't really been uploading too much lately. I've been plagued by a string of technical issues, which in the original recording for this episode, and the following one or two, I tried to explain, but Audacity, which I used to record the audio files for this separately from the video track, crashed.
But we kept the name.
And even though Audacity has its own recovery system, I was not able to recover all of the audio files. Actually, I kind of was, but I also recovered every lost audio file that has ever existed inside the temp folder for Audacity. And it kind of just all spliced together into a whirlwind of shit. So, that's why I'm having to re-record this. As for the rest of the reasons why I haven't been uploading too much lately, where do I even start with that? Okay, well, first things first. I think about early December, sometime around there, not too long after the last set of episodes were recorded but not uploaded, I was having some heat issues, and it was causing a lot of stuttering in the recording. So I figured that the thermal paste that had come with my CPU, the junky stock thermal paste, was just shitting out on me rather quick. About, let's see, March to December. Under a year, about 9 months. 9 months after I built the thing. And it struck me as a little odd that thermal paste would dry out that quick, but I mean, for stock thermal paste, I wasn't too surprised. I wasn't too willing to question it. So I went about to replace it with some Arctic Silver 5. And much to my chagrin, when I tried to remove the heatsink from the processor, keeping in mind that I'm pretty much an amateur computer builder, and this is my first real build that I did back in March, I unlatched the heatsink from the processor. It's an AMD processor. And gave it a little tug, not much force. It wouldn't budge. It was completely cemented on. I tried to twist it a bit, still nothing. Just tried to gently twist it off, see if that would do anything. Nope, didn't budge. Not one fucking bit.
That core was one thing.
So, I tried to give it a little bit more force, thinking maybe I was just being too gentle. I didn't pull particularly hard, but I did manage to rip the whole fucking CPU out. Still attached to the heatsink.
All too easy to lose one.
Now, as you can imagine, that damaged the processor a bit. A couple of the pins were bent up. I didn't notice any bent pins at the time.
It toughened them up.
And when I reapplied the thermal paste to the top side of the processor, the bottom side of the heatsink, I reinstalled everything. It seemed like it was seated fine, and I could not boot up. So at this point I'm thinking, well, fuck. So I went about trying to uninstall the heatsink of the processor again. And because I don't learn from my mistakes the first time I make them, I repeated the whole fucking scenario again. Ripped the processor out for a second time in a row in the course of just one day. This time the damage was more noticeable. I noticed a bunch of pins around the outside were bent. And that's when I started making more bad decisions due to panic. So what I did was I figured I could bend them back into place and everything would probably be fine so long as, there was no major heating issue beforehand that caused scorch marks or anything that caused the socket to be damaged. And at first I was thinking I should just use a set of tweezers and a magnifying glass to bend them back into place, but no, I had a faster solution. I had a better solution because clearly that day I was in the habit of making good decisions. So what I did was I took a credit card, or not a credit card, but a prepaid gift card, and I slid it down the rows of the processor because it's just barely thick enough to get through those rows of pins, thinking it'll catch the pins that are bent out of place and straighten them if I bend it grid style. If I bend it up and down and left to right, it should eventually even out. It did not. It fucked everything up beyond repair. Literally foobar. And yeah, that's where I was throughout December. Then ran into some issues with Amazon and having my processor in stock, and obviously not being able to RMA it. One, because the 30-day warranty was up and I didn't have the foresight to purchase an actual extended warranty on my processor. Though for some reason I do have one on my fucking hard drive. So yeah, string of bad decisions led to this point. Had an interesting customer service issue with Amazon, which got resolved after a lot of arguing with their customer service reps, about 3 of them who told me a series of lies, but not sure if I'm gonna save that for another day. So yeah, there's that. Got the processor in around the 22nd or the 23rd of December, just barely in time for Christmas, because God knows I wasn't about to go through all that hassle on the 25th when I'm, having a good time with my family.
Be seeing plenty more.
So luckily it got here in time for that. And I damn near had a heart attack when I reinstalled the new processor and the new heatsink, because at first I couldn't post and I was just flipping out. But it was apparently just my computer being a dick, because my computer likes to do that to me occasionally. So, long story short, everything's fine now. It wasn't bad.
Wild green vine apple.
Also, if you haven't noticed by now, I have a new microphone, and that's pretty awesome. So that's about all I can think of with that story, so let's get back to Bastion. And again, folks, I apologize for this having to be a commentary, but can't really control Audacity being an asshole to me.
His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot.
Zia shares Zulf's Ura ethnicity and words.
Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zulf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zulf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zulf leaves us here, alone.
Now, the tone of that conversation kind of implies that the calamity was meant to kill the old man, who I keep calling a pedophile, and that's probably true. And judging by, I already forgot his name. Was it Zulf? Yeah, Zulf. It kind of implies that Zulf was the catalyst for the calamity.
Cursed me. Said he was going home.
And what I'm wondering is why he didn't just kill the old man and save the kid.
When Zulf got through reading that journal,
save the kid
he just snapped.
Years of therapy from
Up
molestation.
the monument until I tried to stop him. Zulf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health.
If I've learned anything about Bastion and trying to commentate over it or try to speak along with it while I'm playing, is that it's kind of a hard game to do that with. Because it's not one of those super deep games, but it's not the kind of super deep game that you can offer a shit ton of insight into. And it's also not one of those like super joyful, happy-go-lucky games where you kind of just get caught up in the bliss of it. So it's in this weird middle ground where it's kind of hard to comment on what's going on. That's not just play-by-play, kind of. there's also a lot of narration, which kind of makes it a pain in the ass because you have to choose whether or not you want to talk over the narrator or whether or not you want to break your sentences up to speak around him. And here, I believe I'm going to take that first upgrade. Yep, the focus attack.
With a sturdy grip like that.
Because I'm not really too concerned with causing knockback. I'm going to take a stronger attack over knockback because all the knockback's really going to do, assuming I don't have some sort of AoE to get me out of a tight spot, is to get things off of me, and I don't really want to have to chase things down. I would rather just kill it outright. So as long as I have the muskets special, which is the final warning, the thing that makes musket balls or whatever they were rain down from the sky around me and pretty much clean up the whole area. As long as I have that, I'm not really worried about getting things off me, so that's why I decided to take that upgrade for the hammer.
You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. The marshals learn to pack those shells
and
full
the damage
of fire.
upgrade's really not a hard choice there. And I do believe I will be getting a new weapon, an even cooler weapon later on. Though it's not something that I'm going to replace my musket for. It's still pretty awesome.
Back. Slinger Range is where the city's quickest pistoliers put themselves to the test.
Oh hell, did I already pick that up? Did I already pick that up while I was talking about my nonsense technical issues? I guess so. So yeah, if you haven't guessed already, my new weapon is the pistols, or are the pistols. And here I'm going to go ahead and fail at another minigame. Tap the attack button rapidly to shoot faster with the dueling pistols. I don't know why I bothered to try to read those.
To survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine.
They're either too short to offer any kind of useful insight, or they're too long for me to get through to vocalize. And you can fucking read them. I don't know why I bother doing that. Oh, well, something to keep in mind.
They knew just when to start shooting.
And this is by far going to be the simplest minigame so far. All it really is how quickly can you react, and can you have the presence of mind to keep a full clip and reload as necessary.
Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger.
Now, an interesting thing to keep in mind here is that it looks like the dummies are taking a little bit more than a full clip to put down, and I didn't catch on to that until a couple dummies in, so I was unloading a clip and then waiting for the next dummy to spawn, but the first dummy hadn't been killed yet. So that's something I'm going to keep in mind when I go back and redo this minigame at a later date. And I'm really hoping when I go back to redo the minigames that I don't fail as horribly at them the second time as I did the first. Now, I'm not sure if the dummies have more health or if it has something to do with how fast I'm shooting the gun, making it inaccurate, or the pistols, rather. Because I thought I saw one whiff the dummy, but that could have just been the dummy dying and then the excess bullet going past it as it despawned.
Well, even the slingers weren't quick enough to escape the calamity. He ain't all that shy.
The first time I went through this, I thought that the narrator was talking about Zia, and I had some gender confusion there. Because the narrator says he ain't all that shy, but he's talking about the kid. And now I'm going to be going after the next shard in the Jawson Bog. And it's in the bog that I'm going to find